Every year, millions of Americans gather around a table, say grace, and give thanks, believing they're celebrating unity, peace, and friendship. But what if the story we were told about Thanksgiving isn't the full truth? What if the real origins are far more complex, filled with loss, survival, and untold history that textbooks left out? Before the Pilgrims ever landed, the land we now call Massachusetts was home to the Wampanoag people, a thriving community of farmers, fishermen, and traders. For thousands of years, they lived off the rich coastlines and forests of the region. But when the Pilgrims arrived in 1620, they didn't find an untouched wilderness. They found abandoned villages and empty fields. A devastating plague, likely brought by earlier European explorers, had already killed up to 90% of the local native population. When the surviving Wampanoag met the Pilgrims, they saw desperate, starving settlers on the brink of collapse. Their leader, Massasoit, made a strategic alliance, not out of kindness, but out of survival. The Wampanoag hoped the newcomers could become allies against rival tribes and offer access to European goods. In the spring of 1621, a native man named Tisquantum, whom you might know as Squanto, taught the Pilgrims how to farm corn and fish in local waters. Later that year, when the harvest was successful, the two groups shared a meal, what we now call the first Thanksgiving. But this feast was not an annual celebration of friendship. It was a temporary truce in a time of crisis. As more English settlers arrived, peace slowly unraveled. Within a generation, native lands were taken, treaties were broken, and disease and conflict wiped out most of the Wampanoag population. In 1675, just 54 years after that first Thanksgiving, a brutal conflict known as King Philip's War erupted, one of the deadliest wars per capita in American history. The Wampanoag and other tribes fought to defend their lands and lost almost everything. By the end, native survivors were enslaved, executed, or displaced, and the English colonists celebrated their victory with days of Thanksgiving, not for peace, but for conquest. That's the part of the story that rarely makes it into classrooms. Thanksgiving didn't even become a national holiday until 1863, more than 200 years later. President Abraham Lincoln declared it during the Civil War, not to honor Pilgrims and Native Americans, but to bring a divided nation together. He wanted a day for Americans to pause and be thankful despite the bloodshed around them. Over time, the holiday became a symbol of unity, faith, and family, a noble message, but one built on a sanitized version of history. The truth is, Thanksgiving is both a celebration and a reminder of generosity, survival, and the painful price of colonization.